It's wrestling time! Hello, welcome to another figure review. Today we're going to have a look at the Mattel WWE Ultimate Edition, the Undertaker, Wrestlemania just around the corner, and the man himself, the phenom, the legend, the Undertaker, going into the Hall of Fame after over 3 decades of a historic career. How can I not review this figure? And also, obviously, a big fan of this design because this is Ministry Taker. This is the more demonic face he had during the Attitude Era, and a lot of people crap on this design and crap on his character development. But I actually like the fact that he kind of started talking and he was more ruthless, more vicious. Also a little bit more campy, but regardless of that, it still makes for an amazing looking figure. So let's get into it. The Lord of Darkness stands at about 18.6 centimeters to the top of his head, which means we are going up to 7.4 inches tall. Size comparisons. Here's Jolter, SH Figure Arts Son Goku, NECA Michelangelo, Mattel Stone Cold Steve Austin, Jazzwares Darby Allin, and Darkseid. Overall look in detail, he does have really accurate look, mostly. I mean, the face sculpts, honestly, I don't really like this one. It's kind of like the eyes that look a little bit cartoony. I feel like it's a lot better on the other ones, but still, it looks accurate. He does have some wrinkles on it, and it is, I think, mostly printed on there, and with some added paint detail. The hair also just kind of goes in a weird line, but this one is just meant to be for him looking down. You know, you can tell by the eyes going up, so it's getting a little bit of a dramatic look. And also, this is the only head sculpt where the hair kind of goes through the side from the back of it, but we'll have a look at the other ones later. Then you have an entire body sculpt. You have a lot of these little golden dots going on, which are hit or miss, but you know, at the price point, I think it's fair to say it's added detail and it makes it look good. As such, this figure is not really, you know, boring looking, I'd say. If they would just leave that away, it would be weird. As such, you still have a ton of detail in the chest area, well, the torso area over here, and also got all the crosses and belt buckles molded in. He got all the tats, a ton of it, as we know from Taker himself. And these arm pads, elbow pads, they are just soft rubber, so you could tear them off if you're annoyed by that, but obviously I want to keep them on to complete the look. You got the gloves. The thing with the fingers is that they do not have the same color as the skin tone, but from what I understand, the hands are just black plastic and they only painted the fingers, so we don't need that much paint, but it will look kind of weird. Also, kind of like the wrist part of the gloves is also soft plastic and is movable, so it's very nice to hide the joints under there if you just move it down a little bit and it doesn't get in the way. Same thing with the elbow pads, actually. Can kind of move that around and it does not get into the way of your articulation, which we'll have a look at in just a second. But yeah, overall, the one thing that I feel is kind of weird, how the chest area and the torso are not really lining up at the same size, but then again, this is kind of like the nature of an articulated figure. It really depends on what angle he has. Sometimes it will look better than other times. Going down to the legs with some more buckles on both sides, and he doesn't really have knee pads, so that's fine, also accurate, and regular dark boots, nothing too special about that. So here's also something I only noticed after the review, because apparently I'm deaf, dumb, blind, and stupid. This boot is not connected in the right way. As you can tell, it does not line up in the slightest. And I looked at it and I was like, you have this big line on the front. Oh, you only have a small line. And then you have this line. And oh, I turn it around. Now it fits, but now the foot is backwards. Great job, everybody. Alright, final update on the foot. I fixed it. Now it nicely lines up. However, how to do this is get a hairdryer or hot water, heat up the foot so it's a little bit soft, a little bit rubbery, and then gently try to wiggle it out, because this is 2 packs, which are in on the front and one on the back. Gently try to wiggle it out, and also it's kind of annoying with the hinge, but you can wiggle it out, you can pull it out. If it's soft, it doesn't break off. And then same thing, same thing, align the foot correctly, heat it up again, and squeeze it back in, and there you go. That's how you fix it. Now for your articulation, the head isn't really great. You do have some back and forth motion, a little bit of wiggle motion, does tilt side to side and would go all the way around, you know, with the soft hair plastic. For the shoulder, you have the hinge, so you can bring it up quite nicely. Also rotates in there. It's kind of like Storm Collectibles, but they didn't leave as much room. Also, while the chest area isn't soft plastic, then you have bicep swivel. I would still think double hinged elbow. And then for the fist, you only have a hinge in there, so that goes up and down. Also swivels for the chest area, actually quite nice. It seems like the entire cloth part, well, cloth on the character would be soft plastic on here, so just kind of draped over probably the same chest area that they use for most of the figures. And then for the torso, this is kind of embarrassing, just a swivel on this. Like, come on, dudes, this looks ugly, breaks up the sculpt, doesn't really accomplish anything. The crotch piece is hard plastic as such. The leg moves forward quite nicely, moves out to the side, but it doesn't go to the back because of the butt. And then you have double hinged knees, which is pretty nice. The boot is on a swivel, and the foot, this one's frozen right now, so you do have a hinge in there. A little bit of a rocker kind of hidden in there, but it's not great. And also you do get a toe hinge. I do have to mention some of these joints feel pretty loose, especially in the shoulder. Arms is pretty good. I mean, the head also kind of wiggles around. The legs are stable, which I appreciate, so he will hold some poses. Also same for the knees, but yeah, just kind of weird in some parts. For your accessories, you got two more hats, which I actually like a lot more than the one on the figure. You got obviously just like one staring face and one with the tongue out, when he goes like the rest in peace. Also, you have these open hands for, I guess, like a choke slam, for a little bit of a goozle, as JR always used to say. It doesn't really snap onto the neck, but you know, for posing purposes, it does do the job, grabbing somebody. Maybe you got like a figure with a smaller neck, so that works. And then finally, kind of weird choices. You got like one random open hand and one kind of thumbs up, right? No, obviously this is like when he motions for the throat slit, when he does the rest in peace. Very important. And then you have the entire coat thingy over here, which looks pretty good. Same as for the figure. The gold dots, just as you can tell, sometimes just do whatever the frick they want. As such, you know, some parts look weird, but you do have some nice silver. You got like a ton of detail in it. Also in the back, it's kind of crazy. It's one of these things, like obviously if you're looking at it right now, you're gonna see, oh, some of these dots are like awful. But, you know, it's one of these things, if you look at it from afar, you're not gonna notice it. You're just gonna see all the nice little gold in there. As for the rest of it, it is a very cool mold in general, and lots of plastic. I don't know how to connect it. I really tried. It's kind of like a hard thing. I would recommend like heating it up, try to push this stuff in. And also you have like a little bit of cloth hanging from the back, so you can pose, not really pose that actually because it doesn't have a wire, but you know, it looks cool overall, and I'm really happy with it. So I did put on the coat just to show you. I didn't properly close it, but that's fine. Still gets a great look. But one more thing to say about that, this is pretty much the only hat you can display him with, because all the other hair sculpts are going down on his back, and the coat does not allow for that because they don't have any room for that. So I mean, it's okay, but just something to keep in mind. And for your final thoughts, I did try out this pose. He does make it happen. Does go down to one knee. I know it's kind of weird, the angle right now, but you know, I just put this together real quick. I guess you would kind of like move him forward a little bit more. Oh, it doesn't move forward a little bit more. Anyway, so one more thing I kind of forgot to mention. I love how the entire outfit is done in like the paint and the mold. It looks like kind of silky a little bit. As you can tell, there's some detail in there, and it feels good, it looks good, and props for that. So, final thoughts for this Undertaker figure. I love it. It's absolutely amazing. It catches the look of my favorite incarnation of Taker. So realistically, to me, this is like the definitive Attitude Era Taker. Obviously, if you prefer other versions, that's up to you. But for this one, I think they absolutely deliver. Also at the price point, you know, these WWE Ultimates, they're a lot cheaper than like the SH Figure Arts or the Figmas or whatever I usually review on here. So, you know, you gotta take all these little paint imperfections with a pinch of salt. But as it is, it looks fantastic and I love it. That's why I'm gonna give it a double thumbs up and recommend it to all of you Undertaker fans and even like wrestling fans and whatnot. This figure is great. That's gonna do it, guys. As usual, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget, if you enjoyed this review, hit it up with a like and subscribe to the channel so you can stay tuned for more figure reviews, card game stuff, and whatever the Undertaker wants.